Tom couldn't sleep that night. The clock on his computer showed 2:30 a.m. as he scrolled through various online shopping sites. His small apartment felt extra lonely in the dark. The only light came from his computer screen, casting blue shadows on his tired face. As he was about to give up and go to bed, a pop-up appeared on his screen. Exotic Finds, Space, your gateway to the unknown. The website looked different from anything he had seen before. The design was strange, with symbols that seemed to shift when he wasn't looking directly at them. This is probably just another scam site, Tom muttered to himself. But something made him keep looking. The prices were in dollars, but they were oddly specific. $173.46, $892.15, $456.89, not the usual rounded numbers you see in normal shops. Then he saw it, the listing that would change his life forever. Rare exotic item, one of a kind, direct delivery, no questions asked. The main image was blurry, showing what looked like a large container with strange markings. The price caught his eye. Only $100. Tom leaned closer to his screen. The description was short and mysterious. Product, unique collection piece. Origin, far beyond. Condition, perfect. Delivery, guaranteed within 24 hours. Warning, no returns accepted. This has to be fake, Tom said, but his cursor hovered over the Bid Now button. He had just gotten paid, and $100 wasn't too much to risk. Maybe it would be something interesting for his empty apartment. At worst, he could dispute the charge with his credit card company. He clicked the button. Immediately, the screen changed. Strange symbols flashed across it, too fast to read. A countdown timer appeared. 10 o'clock, 9:59, 9:58. 10 minutes to place final bid. A message read. Tom's heart started beating faster. This was different from other auction sites. Usually, they lasted for days, not minutes. He watched as other bids came in. $120, $150, $175. Tom didn't know why, but he felt he had to win this auction. With shaking hands, he typed in $200. The screen flashed red. More bids appeared quickly. $250, $300, $400. With only 1 minute left, Tom made a decision. He entered $500, a lot of money for him, but something told him this was important. The seconds ticked down. 30, 29, 28. Other bids came in, but none higher than his. The timer reached 0, and the screen exploded with flashing lights and strange symbols. A message appeared. Congratulations, you have won lot #E7249. Your unique item will be delivered within 24 hours. Please ensure you are home between sunset and sunrise for delivery. No signature required. Tom sat back in his chair, his heart still racing. What had he just bought? The website disappeared when he tried to check it again. All he had was the confirmation email, which contained the same message and a string of numbers that looked like a tracking code. He walked to his window and looked out at the quiet street below. The streetlights seemed dimmer than usual, and the stars brighter. As he watched, one of the stars appeared to move, just for a second. His phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. Preparing your item for delivery. Thank you for using Exotic Finds Space. Remember, no questions asked. Tom tried to sleep, but his mind kept going back to the auction. The blurry image, the strange symbols, the quick bidding war. What had he gotten himself into? He finally fell asleep as the sun was rising, dreaming of mysterious containers and moving stars. The next evening, Tom paced in his apartment. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. His phone buzzed again. Your delivery is approaching. Please ensure all recording devices are turned off. He looked out his window one more time. In the distance, something bright was moving through the clouds, getting closer to his home. Tom realized this wasn't going to be a normal delivery. The stars above his apartment began to shine brighter than he had ever seen them. Something was about to happen, something that would change everything. Tom stood at his window, watching and waiting, as strange lights began to appear in the sky above his building. The lights in Tom's apartment flickered and died. Outside, a soft humming filled the air, like the sound of 1,000 whispers. The strange lights in the sky formed a perfect circle, spinning slowly above his building. Tom's phone lit up with another message. Please proceed to your backyard for delivery acceptance. He lived on the first floor of the apartment complex, and his unit was the only one with a small private yard. His hands shook as he opened the back door. The air felt different, electric, like just before a storm. But there were no clouds now, only those spinning lights high above. The temperature dropped suddenly, and Tom could see his breath in the cold air. A beam of silvery light shot down from the sky, touching the ground in his yard. Where it hit, the grass began to glow with strange symbols, the same ones he had seen on the auction website. They formed a perfect circle about 10 feet wide. Delivery in progress. His phone buzzed. Please maintain minimum safe distance of 3 meters. Something was forming in the beam of light. At first, it looked like mist, but then it began to take shape. A container appeared, floating 3 feet above the ground. It was made of a material Tom had never seen before, like liquid metal, but completely transparent. Inside, he could see something. No, someone. The container was 8 feet long and filled with a blue-tinted liquid. Floating inside was a woman, but unlike any woman Tom had ever seen. Her skin had a slight silver sheen, and delicate patterns of light moved beneath it like flowing rivers. Her hair looked like strands of starlight, floating in the liquid as if she was underwater. Warning, his phone displayed. Stasis chamber will begin decontamination process. Step back. The container pulsed with light, and the liquid inside began to drain away. The woman inside remained floating, supported by invisible forces. She wore what looked like a suit made of living metal, shifting and adjusting itself around her. Tom stood frozen, unable to look away. This wasn't possible. He had expected maybe a strange antique or alien technology. But this was beyond anything he could have imagined. The container's surface rippled like water, and then simply vanished, leaving the woman floating in the air. Slowly, she descended until her feet touched the glowing symbols on the grass. Her eyes opened, revealing irises that looked like swirling galaxies. Delivery complete. His phone chimed one last time. Item E7249 successfully transferred. Warranty void if seal broken. The woman's eyes focused on Tom. When she spoke, her voice was like music, but her words were clear English. You broke the slave traders' auction network. You weren't supposed to be able to bid. She smiled, showing teeth that gleamed like pearls. But I made sure you would win. Tom tried to speak, but before he could, the woman's expression changed to one of alarm. They're coming, she whispered. I can feel them searching already. She reached out and grabbed Tom's arm. Her touch sent a wave of tingling energy through his body. My name is Lyra, she said quickly. And you, Tom Davidson, are now involved in something much bigger than a simple auction. We need to move. They'll trace the delivery signal. As if to confirm her words, black vehicles appeared at both ends of the street. Their engines made no sound, and their windows were completely dark. Strange antennae rotated on their roofs, scanning. Do you trust me? Lyra asked, her galaxy eyes intense. Tom looked at the approaching vehicles, then back at this impossible woman who had literally fallen from the sky. I think I do, he said. Lyra's suit rippled and expanded, beginning to cover them both. Good, she said, because we're about to break several universal laws. She pulled something from her suit, a small crystal that pulsed with inner light. And Tom, welcome to the Resistance. The black vehicles converged on Tom's yard just as Lyra activated the crystal. The world around them began to blur, and Tom felt reality itself start to bend. Their adventure was just beginning, and nothing in his life would ever be the same. The world stopped spinning, and Tom found himself in a place that shouldn't exist. They stood in what looked like a huge library, but the books were made of light. The walls seemed to go up forever, glowing with soft blue light. Strange creatures that looked like floating jellyfish made of crystal moved between the shelves, carrying streams of data in their tentacles. "Welcome to the archive," Lyra said, her suit retracting to its normal form. "It's hidden between seconds of time, where they can't track us." She walked to one of the light books and touched it. A hologram appeared, showing Earth from space. "Your world isn't what you think it is," she continued. "Those black vehicles, they're operated by the Shadowers, humans who made deals with the slave traders centuries ago. They help keep Earth isolated in exchange for advanced technology." Tom watched as the hologram changed, showing scenes from history, but they were different from what he knew. The pyramids being built with floating anti-gravity platforms, Roman soldiers using energy shields, medieval knights fighting alongside mechanical dragons. "They've been erasing Earth's true history," Lyra explained, "hiding humanity's potential. Your people once traveled the stars, Tom. The slave traders feared your species because humans can do something almost no other species can." She touched Tom's forehead gently. Suddenly, he could see energy flowing around them like rivers of light. The crystal jellyfish weren't just carrying data, they were weaving reality itself. "Humans can manipulate quantum probability," Lyra said. "You can change the very fabric of reality. That's why they imprisoned your species on Earth, made you forget. But some humans, like the Shadowers, chose to help them." Tom tried to process this information. "But why me? Why did you choose my bid?" Lyra smiled mysteriously. "Watch this." She waved her hand, and a new hologram appeared. It showed Tom as a child, sleeping. Above his bed, toys floated in the air. "You've always been different, Tom. Your mother wasn't just a normal researcher. She was part of a secret group trying to awaken humanity's true powers. The Shadowers, they'd made her disappear." Tom's heart stopped. His mother had vanished when he was 10. Everyone said she'd run away, but he'd never believed it. A crystal jellyfish floated down, wrapping a tentacle around Tom's wrist. Instead of being cold, it felt warm, like sunlight. Images flooded his mind. Star maps, ancient knowledge, and something else. A memory of his mother, working in a hidden lab. "She's alive," Lyra said softly, "trapped in a time prison. And you're the key to finding her. That's why I arranged for you to find the auction site. Your quantum abilities are starting to wake up." As if to prove her point, Tom noticed his hands were glowing with the same energy he could now see around them. Books of light began floating off the shelves, circling him like a tornado of knowledge. "We don't have much time," Lyra said urgently. "The archive can only stay hidden for so long. But first, you need to see what the slave traders are really planning." She led Tom to a central platform. The floor turned transparent, revealing a massive machine below them that pulsed with dark energy. "They're building quantum dampeners around Earth," she explained. "Once activated, they'll permanently lock humanity's abilities. Earth will become a permanent prison planet." Suddenly, alarms began blaring. The crystal jellyfish scattered, their light turning red. "They found us," Lyra said. "The Shadowers have quantum trackers." The walls of the archive began to crack, reality bleeding through. Through the cracks, Tom could see the black vehicles, but now they were different, covered in shifting symbols and staffed by figures that were only partially human. "Tom," Lyra said quickly, "everything depends on what you do next. Your quantum abilities are raw, untrained, but powerful. You can either hide them again, go back to your normal life, or you can help me save both our peoples. But you have to choose now." The cracks were getting bigger. Through them, Tom could see men in black suits approaching, their eyes glowing with unnatural light. They carried weapons that seemed to bend space around them. Tom looked at his glowing hands, then at the hologram of his mother, then at Lyra. The truth about Earth, about himself, about everything was almost too much to handle. But deep down, he knew there was only one choice he could make. The archive was collapsing around them. Reality and unreality collided as the Shadowers broke through. Tom reached out and took Lyra's hand, their energies combining in a burst of blinding light. "Teach me everything," he said. Lyra's smile was fierce as she pulled out the crystal again. "Lesson 1," she said, "how to turn your enemies' quantum dampeners against them." The world exploded into light as Tom took his first step toward becoming what humanity was always meant to be. The war for Earth's true history was about to begin. Tom had never seen a train station turn into liquid before, but as he and Lyra ran through Grand Central Terminal, the walls began to melt like mercury. The quantum hunters had found them again. They're bending local reality. Lyra shouted, her living metal suit expanding to deflect a blast of twisted space. "Tom, remember what we practiced." 3 days had passed since the archive, and Tom was beginning to understand his abilities. He focused on the melting walls, seeing the quantum probability streams flowing around them. With a gesture, he solidified a section into crystal, creating a barrier. The hunters emerged from the liquid walls, 7-foot-tall figures that kept shifting between human and something else. Their suits were made of shadows that ate light, and their helmets showed infinite reflections of themselves. "Interesting trick, boy," one of them spoke, its voice echoing from every reflection. "But we've been manipulating reality since before your ancestors learned to make fire." The hunter reached into its shadow suit and pulled out what looked like a piece of frozen time. Lyra's eyes widened. "Tom, don't let that touch you. It's a chronofragment. It'll trap you between moments." Tom watched in horror as the hunter threw the fragment. Time seemed to slow. He could see the air crystallizing around the fragment's path, turning into eternal now moments that would never end. Without thinking, he reached out with his quantum abilities and did something impossible. He changed the fragment's past. The fragment transformed mid-flight, becoming a butterfly made of living time. The hunter's infinite reflections showed surprise for the first time. "He's a probability sculptor," another hunter hissed. "Like his mother." Tom's heart jumped. "You know my mother. Where is she?" But before they could answer, Lyra pulled out a strange device, a sphere covered in twisting Mobius strips. "Sorry, but this conversation is about to have never happened." She activated the sphere. Reality hiccuped. Tom felt his stomach turn inside out as probability collapsed around them. When his vision cleared, they were standing on the roof of the terminal. The sun was rising, but it was rising in the west. "What did you do?" Tom asked, trying not to be sick. "Probability inverter," Lyra explained, the sphere smoking in her hands. "It makes the least likely thing become the most likely thing. Right now, we're in a reality where the Earth spins the opposite direction. The hunters can't follow us here, but it won't last long." Tom looked at the backward-moving sun. "You said they knew my mother, that she was a probability sculptor." Lyra nodded, her galaxy eyes serious. "The strongest ever known. She discovered that humans aren't just capable of manipulating quantum probability. They can reshape it entirely, create new laws of physics. That's why the slave traders fear humanity so much." A door burst open behind them, but it wasn't hunters. It was a group of teenagers with glowing tattoos and clothes that seemed to be made of pure mathematics. "Finally found you," said their leader, a girl with equations flowing across her skin. "We're the probability pirates. Your mother helped create us, Tom. We've been waiting for you." Lyra stepped forward. "Maya, I thought all the pirates were captured." "Most were," Maya said. "But some of us hid in improbable moments, like this one. We've been gathering others, humans whose abilities are awakening, building a resistance." She waved her hand, and the air split open, revealing the hidden base built into a fold of space-time. Inside, dozens of young people were training, their quantum abilities creating impossible things, forests made of light, animals built from music, bridges made of frozen thoughts. Your mother's time prison is in the deep probability zone, Maya explained, where all possible futures collapse into one point. We couldn't reach her alone, but with a probability sculptor. She looked at Tom meaningfully. Suddenly, the backward sun flickered. Reality shuddered like a bad transmission. The inversion is failing, Lyra warned. We need to decide now. Tom looked at his hands, still glowing with quantum energy, then at the young resistance fighters, at Lyra, at the failing inverted world around them. He thought of his mother, trapped in a prison where time itself was the bars. Teach me everything, he said to Maya. Not just about my abilities, but about what my mother was trying to do. About the pirates. Everything. Maya smiled, equations swirling faster across her skin. Lesson 1. Probability isn't just about what might happen. It's about making impossible things inevitable. The inverted sun went dark. Reality began to resettle. Tom could hear the hunters coming, their shadow suits tearing through the walls of probability. But this time, he wasn't running. This time, he had an army of impossible teenagers at his back, each one a living middle finger to the laws of physics. The war for humanity's potential was about to go quantum. The training room defied geometry. Walls became floors, ceilings turned into doorways, and gravity was more of a suggestion than a law. Tom stood in the center, his quantum energy now flowing through him like a river of starlight. Again, Maya commanded, her equation tattoos burning bright. But this time, don't just change probability. Become probability. Tom closed his eyes. 2 weeks had passed since joining the probability pirates, and each day brought new impossibilities. He felt the quantum streams around him, but this time, instead of manipulating them, he let them flow through him. His body began to blur, becoming a cloud of possible versions of himself. Each version existed in a different probability state, one where he was taller, another where his hair was longer, thousands where he stood in slightly different positions. Good, Lyra said from where she floated near what was currently the ceiling. Now collapse the possibilities into the most advantageous one. Tom concentrated. His 1,000 possible selves began to merge, but something went wrong. Instead of becoming one, he split into 5 distinct versions, each solid and real. Interesting, said a new voice. An old woman stepped out of a door that hadn't existed a moment ago. Her skin was covered in shifting star maps, and her white hair floated in an unseen wind. He's not just sculpting probability. He's probability weaving. Master Area, Maya gasped, her equations flickering with surprise. We thought you were lost in the chaos depths. The universe is full of surprises, Area smiled. She walked to Tom, all 5 of him, and studied them carefully. Just like your mother, Tom. She could weave probabilities too. It's how she hid so many of us from the slave traders. The 5 Toms spoke in unison. Can you help me find her? Better, Area said. She reached into the air and pulled out what looked like a thread of reality itself. I can show you what she was really working on. The thread expanded, becoming a window into another place. Through it, Tom could see a vast laboratory built inside what appeared to be a giant crystal. Scientists worked at stations made of light, but what they were studying made his blood freeze. In the center of the lab was Earth, not an image or a model, but somehow the actual Earth, shrunk down to the size of a basketball. Around it, probability streams swirled in complex patterns. Project Awakening, Area explained. Your mother discovered that Earth itself is a probability engine. The planet's core doesn't just generate a magnetic field. It generates quantum possibility fields, fields that give humans their unique abilities. The slave traders, Lyra realized, they're not just trying to imprison humanity. They're trying to steal Earth's power. Precisely, Area nodded. But your mother found a way to wake up the engine early, to give humanity back its birthright before the traders could steal it. Suddenly, alarms blared. The window showing the laboratory flickered and died. Maya's equations turned red. "Multiple probability breaches," she shouted. "The hunters found us." But these weren't normal hunters. Through tears in reality came creatures that looked like they'd been built from broken physics and forgotten laws of nature. Their bodies were wrong angles that hurt to look at. Their movements left trails of corrupted spacetime. "Chaos hunters," Area said grimly. "They've corrupted themselves with prohibited probability tech. Maya, get the younger ones out. Lyra, activate the quantum anchors." Tom watched in horror as one of the Chaos hunters touched a wall. The wall didn't just melt. It unexisted, taking part of reality with it. Through the hole, he could see the deep probability zone, a swirling maelstrom of raw possibility where all futures and pasts collided. "Tom," Area called, pulling more reality threads from the air, weaving them into weapons. "Remember what you just learned. Don't fight the probability. Become it." Tom's 5 versions looked at each other and understood. They didn't need to become one. They needed to become infinite. He let his forms multiply, becoming 100, 1,000, each one existing in a different probability state. The Chaos Hunters charge, their broken physics corrupting everything they touched. But Tom was everywhere and nowhere, each version carrying a different piece of possibility. Some versions threw quantum energy, others rewrote local physics, others changed the probability of the hunters' attacks ever happening. "He's doing it," Lyra shouted over the reality storm. "He's probability weaving at a master level." But even as he fought, Tom saw something through the holes in reality. In the deep probability zone, a massive structure pulsed with dark energy, a sphere made of trapped moments and frozen time. And inside it, a familiar figure worked at a probability loom, weaving desperately at the fabric of reality itself. "Mom," all 1,000 versions of Tom whispered. The battle for the probability engine was about to begin. And this time, Tom wasn't just fighting with power, he was fighting with understanding. Earth wasn't just humanity's home. It was their source, their birthright, and the key to their destiny. Reality itself would never be the same. The sky above New York had turned into living mathematics. Equation storms rained theoretical physics onto the streets below, while probability tornadoes rewrote reality wherever they touched. The uprising had begun. Tom, now able to exist as multiple quantum probability states simultaneously, led the charge alongside the probability pirates. His 1,000 forms rippled through reality, each one wielding a different aspect of quantum manipulation. "The engine core is awakening," Maya shouted, her equation tattoos now floating off her skin to form weapons of pure mathematics. "Look!" Through the mathematical storm, they could see strange lights erupting from the ground worldwide. Earth's probability engine was powering up, sending quantum energy through ley lines that had been dormant for millennia. But the slave traders weren't giving up easily. Massive ships appeared in the sky, their hulls made of crystallized impossibilities. From them emerged an army of enhanced chaos hunters, their bodies now fused with prohibited probability tech. "They're trying to harvest the engine's activation energy," Lyra called out, her living metal suit now merged with streams of quantum probability. "If they succeed, they'll drain Earth's probability field forever." Master Area appeared beside them, riding what looked like a wave of frozen time. "Then we give them something else to harvest." She pulled out a device that shouldn't exist, a sphere made of condensed futures and compressed possibilities. "The probability bomb," she explained. "Your mother's last creation before they took her. It doesn't destroy, it multiplies. It will create thousands of probability duplicates of Earth itself. They won't know which one is real," Tom realized, his 1,000 forms speaking in harmony. Suddenly, the air cracked open like broken glass. Through the fractures stepped creatures that made the Chaos Hunters look normal, the probability lords themselves. Their bodies were built from pure quantum uncertainty, shifting between infinite forms every microsecond. "Enough," they spoke, their voices rewriting local acoustics. This Indies no. The lead probability lord raised what looked like a staff made of crystallized fate. Reality began to crystallize around them, probability itself freezing solid. But Tom had been ready for this. All his forms smiled at once as he activated his mother's hidden protocol, the one he'd discovered in the training room's quantum streams. "You're right," his thousand voices echoed. "It ends now." He raised his hands, and every awakened human on Earth did the same. The probability engine's energy wasn't just flowing through ley lines, it was flowing through them. Each human became a probability amplifier, channeling the quantum field's power. The sky filled with aurora-like streams of quantum energy as billions of humans, most not even aware of what they were doing, accessed their birthright. The probability lord's reality freeze shattered. "Impossible," the lead lord stuttered, its uncertainty form flickering. "No," Maya grinned, her equations now swirling around every awakened human on Earth. "Inevitable." Master Area threw the probability bomb skyward. It detonated with a silent flash, and suddenly space itself multiplied. Thousands of Earths appeared in quantum superposition, each one equally real and unreal. The slave trader ships began firing probability nullification beams randomly, trying to find the real Earth. But there was a secret even the probability lords didn't know. A secret Tom had learned from the quantum streams. There was no real Earth anymore. They all were. His mother hadn't just discovered Earth's probability engine. She'd found a way to make every possible Earth coexist simultaneously. But before they could celebrate, a new tear appeared in reality, larger than any before. Through it, Tom could see the time prison where his mother was held. But something was wrong. The prison wasn't just holding her anymore. It was holding something else, something that had been waiting for this moment for millions of years. The true architects of humanity's imprisonment were about to reveal themselves. And as reality trembled around them, Tom realized that everything, the auction, Lyra, the pirates, even the probability lords, had been leading to this moment. The final probability was about to collapse. The time prison cracked open like a cosmic egg, and out poured beings made of pure probability. The quantum ancestors. Their bodies were fractal patterns of every possible evolution humanity could have taken, shifting between forms that looked almost human to shapes that defied comprehension. "Hello, my son," said a familiar voice. Tom's mother stepped out of the prison, but she was changed. Her body flickered between normal human appearance and pure quantum energy. "I found them in here. Or rather, they found me." The quantum ancestors spoke in probability waves that restructured reality to form words. "We are what humanity was meant to become. The slave traders didn't just imprison your species, they imprisoned your destiny." The thousands of quantum superposed Earths hung in space around them like a gallery of what-ifs. On each one, humanity was experiencing their awakening differently. Tom could see through them all simultaneously with his probability-woven senses. The probability lords raised their crystallized fate weapons, but the quantum ancestors merely laughed, a sound that made new colors appear in the air. "Your time is over," they said. "The loop is complete." Tom suddenly understood. The auction site, it wasn't random, was it? His mother smiled. "Everything is probability, Tom. I created that site while in the prison, sent it backward through time. The quantum ancestors showed me how. We needed you to find Lyra, to awaken your abilities, to trigger the global awakening. It was all inevitable." Lyra finished, her living metal suit now merged with pure quantum potential. The slave traders launched their final weapon, a reality nullification wave that would erase all probability, freezing the universe into a single unchangeable timeline. But they didn't understand what Earth really was. As the wave approached, the probability engine in Earth's core activated fully. Every human on every quantum superposed Earth felt it, a surge of pure possibility. "Now, Tom," his mother called. "Weave them together." Tom's thousand forms moved as one. He wasn't just probability weaving anymore. He was weaving realities. The thousands of superposed Earths began to merge, not into one, but into something entirely new. The quantum ancestors added their power, transforming the wave of nullification into a wave of possibility. The probability lords screamed as their crystallized fate weapons melted into liquid chance. Maya's equations spread across the sky of every Earth simultaneously, forming a mathematical bridge between all possible futures. The probability pirates used it to evacuate civilians from realities that were collapsing. Master Area appeared, riding a wave of compressed time. The quantum merge is destabilizing the probability matrix. We need an anchor. No, Tom's mother said. Not an anchor. A key. She pulled out what looked like a double helix made of living light, the original genetic code of humanity, probability encoded into pure quantum information. The slave traders didn't just imprison us in space, she explained. They imprisoned us in a single genetic destiny. This will unlock our true potential. On every Earth, in every timeline. The helix expanded, touching every human on every Earth. People began to change. Not physically at first, but probabilistically. They could see the quantum streams, understand the mathematics of reality, reach through time and space with thought alone. The slave traders' ships tried to retreat, but there was nowhere to go. Reality itself had become a probability ocean, and humanity had remembered how to swim. It's not an ending, the quantum ancestors said as the transformation spread. It's an awakening. Humanity was never meant to be one thing. You were meant to be everything. Tom looked at his mother, at Lyra, at the pirates, and the quantum-changed humans below. What happens now? The answer came not in words, but in pure probability. Infinite futures spreading out before them like pages in an endless book. Humanity would spread across the quantum probability ocean, exploring not just space and time, but possibility itself. The slave traders fled through holes in reality, but they didn't matter anymore. Earth wasn't a prison now. It was a cradle, nurturing humanity's transformation into beings of pure quantum potential. Ready to explore? Lyra asked, holding out her hand. Tom took it, letting his thousand forms merge into something new, neither singular nor multiple, but probability incarnate. Above them, the sky had become a canvas of quantum mathematics, each equation a door to a new reality. The probability pirates were already diving through them, leading transformed humans on adventures through possibility itself. His mother smiled, her form shifting between human and energy. Every ending is just probability collapsing into a new beginning. And so humanity set out into their new existence, not as prisoners of reality, but as its authors. The auction that had started it all was now just one probability thread in an infinite tapestry. The universe would never be the same. But then again, in a reality of pure probability, it never was.